Good morning, everybody. I appreciate you coming out. Welcome to the mothership for our 25th birthday. I mean, this is it's an incredible milestone for our company. And it was 25 years ago when I was 24 years old. You can think about that. I'm 49 now, so I've done this more than half my life, is when we came in, and I remember it like yesterday. We finally figured out these registers we bought from Office Depot and College Drive, and literally figured out how to program them. Then I walked outside and started waving people in, and we got actually a little bit of business that first night. And I had no idea what that would set in motion that many years ago. You know the story, you've heard about it. If this was a business plan for LSU, got the worst grade in the class, but professor, it was only a B-. People said it was a failing grade. He wasn't a hard grader, but the point was, concept back then was fast food and quick service restaurants were going towards more variety back then, healthy options. That's where the industry was going. And so it's like you put together a good plan. I worked in the restaurant business, so I knew it. It's a good plan, but your concept is going somewhere else. But I knew doing one thing and doing it better than anybody else would work, and that's worked for us over 25 years. So here's the 25 years of changing absolutely nothing at Cane's. I mean, literally absolutely nothing over 25 years. It's still the same menu that I cooked up that first night and served that first meal. After getting that worst grade in the business planning class, I went down to the banks, got turned down. All the Baton Rouge banks are very nice, but it was just the same thing. You have no money, you have no experience with this. Maybe you should try something else and come back to the restaurant business, but I wasn't. It actually used it as fuel. And so I went and worked at refineries in Los Angeles and Hawaii and Denver, and I went out and commercial fished in Alaska to raise money. Came back and got this great location. North Gates LSU was completely dilapidated. This was an old gas station, so they pulled the tanks out. It was a mud pit. The building was totally dilapidated, and it was a place I could come in and I could work on myself. And so I got cheap rent, but I reconstructed this place with my own hands. Look, this is 25 years ago. Look, I laid the parking lot here. I borrowed a friend's tractor and laid it all out. I actually did the plumbing under this parking lot, and I wasn't a licensed plumber, but plumbers cost money, and it's still holding today, 25 years later. And so here's where I learned humility, and I really learned the word appreciation when the crew worked with me so hard every day. We're open every night until 3:30 a.m. except for Sundays. That was midnight, and I just worked all the time. I had this apartment up here I lived at, that upstairs, and it didn't look like this back then. It was a dump, but it was close to work. And my dog Kane was out there, and that was actually Kane 1. And here we are 25 years later with still our namesake, but we're on Kane 3 now. And she's just as good as the other ones, maybe even the best I've ever had. But that gratefulness and that appreciation, and it came from the LSU community, and it came from the Baton Rouge community, because they've come to me because they knew I was a guy frying their chicken and working so hard for his dream. And so I appreciated my crew, and I appreciated my customers, and then started really appreciating my community and LSU groups. So say it's the band had a little bit of money to do a meeting. Well, they would come out and they come support me. And so that's where I got involved with, hey, I need to get back to the community. Big Buddy office is right down the street. And I started working with Miss Gay and being a mentor and things like that. So this is where it shaped my life, and it really shaped the man I am today, and I'm so grateful for it. So grateful for it. But I had no idea where to go, and so you fast forward 25 years now, we have 600 locations, almost 600 locations in 32 states. We're actually in the Middle East too, and we're talking about international expansion now. This stuff blows me away. 38,000 crew members. Right, so if we have 38,000 now, we have a lot of turnovers. Like naturally, students might work one semester or work a summer, and that's all they're going to work. But so I've trained almost 1 million people, and most of those people are their first jobs, right? And so that's a big responsibility. It's also a really great privilege to instill values that they'll take somewhere else. Most of our people go somewhere else and work somewhere else, but they can carry that with them. That means a lot. And then we've been very fortunate and privileged to be able to give back over $100 million over our last 25 years of business back to the communities we do business in, right? And so the way I think about it is, what better way to celebrate 25 years of business success than to give back 25 million over the next 12 months to do that. So that's just a really great thing for me and my crew, and I do this on behalf of the 38,000 crew members at Raising Cane's, that they're working hard. Look, they're getting ready right now. I got drive-thrus open from coast to coast right now, and there's certain people working hard, but because of that, we can do $25 million this year. Back to the communities we do business in. And the way I want to kick that off this morning is 2 organizations, one here in my hometown and one that goes for the state, and kick off a couple of $25,000 checks. This morning, One being the Baton Rouge Area Foundation. Bill and Mukul are here to represent them. Thank you guys for coming out. Baton Rouge Area Foundation I've been involved with for a very long time, and it started off a very, very small level, what I could afford and going through. Baton Rouge Area Foundation just strategically thinks of major projects that will help Baton Rouge be a better place to live and to keep our graduates and to make us a better place. And so just the recent initiative we're working, I'm happy to support in a very tiny way, but they really made this happen, which is this LSU Lakes project. I mean, this is going to be a game changer for our city. And so we want to continue to support y'all, and we're going to support y'all in a much bigger way too as we go along. And KOREY's here to represent Feeding Louisiana. I love the Feeding Louisiana Love initiative, and what I was really impressed, it's 5 different food banks across the state, hundreds of different organizations. They basically united the state into feeding those that were hungry. I was very impressed with what you guys did during the pandemic in a very tough time, and you kept people fed. So I'd also like to call y'all out too on that. And anyway, just a great morning and feels really good. So I thank you all for being out here. Here's to 25 years, and here's to the next 25 years. Thank you.
This is really exciting news for us, for Feeding Louisiana and our network of member organizations. Feeding Louisiana's work kind of covers 2 bases: supporting our member food banks and the food distributions, the short-term response that they make in communities, and then our longer-term work of addressing the longer-term systemic issue of hunger and food insecurity in our state. So we'll be able to support our food banks and help push out more food into communities across Louisiana.
This is incredible. I mean, Raising Cane's has been such a great corporate citizen, and I can tell you I have children and grandchildren that love Raising Cane's. So to see how they give back to the community and what they're doing today and this event, this is just incredible.
I can't think of a better way to celebrate 25 years of business success than to give back $25 million to all the communities we do business in. And we're going to help schools, we're going to help pet welfare, we're going to help feeding the hungry, we're going to help everything else. We're going to be involved in everything. And so it's an honor and privilege to do so. And what a great way to celebrate 25.
How can community organizations find out about this initiative?
If anybody wants us to be involved with their organization, they can go to our website or go to canesandcommunity.com and fill out a request.
Okay, we're standing in the original Cane's off the north gates of LSU, and not very much has changed in this restaurant specifically. It's kind of like a time capsule. But what about Cane's itself as a company has not changed and stayed the same?
We believe in doing one thing and doing it better than anybody else. It's our one love, our quality chicken finger meals, and I have not changed our menu since day one, 25 years ago. Look, I believe you have to be good at something and strive to be the best at it. And if you try to be all things to all people, then you don't really please anybody. And so that's why we have our one love, quality chicken finger meals. And so here's to 25 years of changing absolutely nothing.
And even though a lot of Cane's has stayed the same, what hasn't stayed the same is the growth of Cane's all across the country, even internationally. So how have you seen the growth of Cane's in the last 25 years?
I've been blown away with our growth. I mean, 25 years ago, I had a dream to open this one location. We call it the Mothership at the North Gates LSU, and that's all I wanted. But then I started to realize that's not my purpose. My purpose is to grow Cane's, bring great people to come in and work with me, and then to service our customers, which we've done now the last 25 years, over 2.5 billion times, and then to give back to our communities. And so looking forward, we have 600 locations now, but now we're getting to the point where we can open about 100 locations a year. So I look forward to opening another 100 locations of Raising Cane's across the country in the next 12 months.
You have a very specific tie to LSU. Now, this isn't a scientific fact, but Cane's is kind of like the official tailgating food for LSU and LSU football. Could you have ever imagined you'd make such a big impact with the LSU community too?
No, I mean, when I think about opening up 25 years ago and how nervous I was, I mean, we literally just figured out how to program the registers, and I walked outside that door and waved people in, and then people came, and then they liked the food, and then they told their friends, and they came back, and seeing it work was amazing, and seeing my crew work beside me, work so hard for my dream. And we actually made $30 the first month. I mean, $30. And I know that doesn't sound like much, but it meant I could pay my crew. I could pay my rent. I could pay for the food we were serving. It was working. And here at this location, working so hard, established the values that are still a part of me, that help shape me as a man. and the things that are Canes, and it's basically appreciation. It's appreciation of your crew that works hard. That's why I focus on my crew. People wonder why our crews are so friendly. It's because I care about them, and I respect, recognize, reward them. And it's also about taking care of your customers, earning that money, but with that money, giving it back to the community.
Every Caniac knows their order when they walk through the door, go through the drive-thru. So what is Todd Graves's box combo order, and how many do you think you've eaten over the last 25 years?
I have had so many box combos over the years. I mean, literally, it's uncountable how many I've had. I eat it every week, several times. Quality control, you got to do that. But my go-to order is box, no slaw, extra toast with an extra sauce and a sweet tea.
So whose idea was the slaw? I mean, that's kind of a personal question. Who came up with the slaw and then the no slaw?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of slaw in general. I guess ours is all right for slaw, but what I like about having the slaw on the menu is that you trade it out for something else. I trade it out for toast. Some people trade it out for extra fries or sauce, but that makes it fun. So most of our customers trade it out.
Except for Coach O.
Yeah, except for Coach O, who orders extra slaw. And if you couldn't recognize Coach O's voice in the drive-thru, you're definitely, when he says, I'll have 2 extra slaws, you're going to know Coach O's coming through Raising Cane's drive-thru. So this is the apartment I lived in when I not only constructed Raising Cane's, but actually worked here.
The Cane's crib.
Cane's crib. So I might close at 5:30 in the morning, get out of there, 3:30, 5:30, get to bed at 6, and like somebody at 7:30 was here, so they come in the back, and I'd be sleeping up front, But how about stuff like this, Rolodex?
See, yes.
I mean, is that awesome? So I could sleep, but I would hear the drive-thru going all night, right? And so, but I could always keep an eye on it, and if something took too long, I can run down and help out.
It's a great organization. It's a great restaurant. I'm a fan personally of it for a long time. In 25 years, starting here in this spot, I grew up just down the street, so this is familiar for me and an exciting time for them, I know.
I've been born and raised in Baton Rouge, so I believe in everything that we have in Baton Rouge, and to see a corporate citizen like Raising Cane's for what it's done over this period of time, it gives back. It's more than just providing the food for everybody, but it provides to the community. Baton Rouge Area Foundation, I believe, is exactly aligned with that. I hate to think about what the community would be like without Baton Rouge Area Foundation and also without Raising Cane's.
Raising Cane's was a college dream and started here at the North Gates of LSU. It actually got the worst grade in the business planning class because the teacher thought that, a place serving just chicken fingers in South Louisiana, we're known for our Cajun and Creole food, wouldn't work. But I didn't let that discourage me. It actually uses fuel, and I went and worked in refineries in Los Angeles. I actually went out commercial fished in Alaska to raise my own money to start this first location, which we call the Mothership, which I reconstructed with my own hands over 25 years ago, and I had no idea what that would set in motion and the things that would come of that. I mean, I've trained almost 1 million kids to come in for their first job. They carry those values on, and we were able to give back $100 million to the communities that we do business in. But better than any of that, in our 25th year, what a better way to celebrate than to give back $25 million to schools and nonprofits across the country, coast to coast, to celebrate 25 years of business success.